Lions have indeed made a signing to bolster that offensive line.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It is another episode of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today is Wednesday, June 4th and a Thursday, June 5th. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day right here on Locked On Lions. We are today on this very Wednesday brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. That's right. New customers right now can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins with our friends at FanDuel. Follow us on all social media platforms. If you want to be our call of the day, we're not going to do one today, but possibly we'll do one next week. You can be our call of the day by going to speakpipe.com/Derry, D-E-R-Y podcast page. That's speakpipe.com/Derry podcast page. Thank you to all of our everydayers that are out there. I get messages daily on LinkedIn, on my Twitter feed, on Blue Sky, Facebook fan page. Appreciate all of you. We'll run down a good list of those likely next week, where I can thank many of you and throw some shout outs out there. We'll do that at some point here, maybe next week, right here on Locked On Lions. Mike Garafolo of NFL Network reporting that the Lions are closing in on a deal with a veteran free agent offensive lineman. We'll tell you about that. Pro Football Focus's safety rankings are out from last season going into this season. Do the Lions have two top 5 safeties in the league? We will tell you coming up momentarily. Gaines Media poster boy and the flowing blonde locks of Alex Anzalone putting out some cryptic Instagram videos. Yes, it's taken the internet by storm. Is it cryptic? Is it not? Let's have some fun with it. And we will end the show with former Lion long snapper Jake McQuaide. I never thought I would say the name Jake McQuaide ever again, but he got kicked out of a building last weekend. Yes, Jake McQuaide was escorted out of a building. We will tell you where and what. Coming up right here, I'm Locked On Lions. Matt Derry with you again on a Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a great middle of the week here. Again, like I told you, short week this week for us, and next week with 3 shows each week, or 3 shows a week this week and next week, and then we're back to the full schedule, taking a little vacation time. So hope everybody does the same here. Lions OTAs, of course, going on right now. Is no mandatory mini camp. This team will be jumping into training camp rather quickly in July, because they're going to be playing that Hall of Fame game against the Chargers coming up on July the 31st. All right, the first to report this earlier today, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network reporter, that the Lions have gone out and signed veteran offensive lineman Trystan Colon to a contract. The team has not announced the move yet, of course, but Colon is a guy that has been in the NFL now for the last 5 seasons, I should say. Originally came out in 2020 with the Baltimore Ravens, and is somebody that has a lot of experience playing right guard, left guard, and center. He was a college player at Mizzou, was undrafted rookie free agent with Baltimore, played 3 seasons in the NFL with the Ravens, and the last 2 years has played with the Arizona Cardinals. What is interesting about Trystan Colon, who is 27 years of age, and again, unsigned, and is a free agent that's been out on the street and has not been picked up by anybody. What's interesting about Trystan Colon is last year he mostly played right guard, which again, if you watched or listened to the show yesterday, we speculated a little bit about maybe Giovanni Manu being the Lions right guard next year. I'm not ruling that out. There's a lot of options for Detroit at left guard, center, and right guard when we're talking about the retirement, of course, day 3 of talking about it, of the Pro Bowler and All-Pro Frank Ragnow. Trystan Colon last year had a really solid season for Arizona. As kind of a spot starter, he started 7 games. Did not play against the Lions when Detroit went out to Arizona early in the season last year. But in the games he played, he did okay. Pro Football Focus graded him out at a 71.0. Had a couple of games, actually he had 4 games where he graded out in the 70s, which is very solid and good. But what's interesting about that is we're sitting here saying, man, this is a nice pickup for the Lions. Justin Rogers from Detroit Football Network put out his name a couple of months ago when they were talking about free agents that maybe would come to Detroit. Trystan was one of them. So you give Justin a little credit here. We love JR. We love subscribing to Detroit Football Network. But he graded out at a 71.0 last year in terms of his grade. And you're like, all right, that's not bad, right? That's pretty decent for an offensive lineman. But then you look at Frank Ragnow, and you see that Ragnow was an 86.1. And again, Frank Ragnow is an elite center. And the year before, he was at an 88.8. And the year before that, he was at a 77.9. And then before that, 86, and 80. And in 2019, 75. His rookie year, Ragnow was a 66.5. So every year the Ragnow's been in the league but one, and he's played 7 seasons. He's graded higher than a guy like Trystan Colon, whose best season was his last year at Baltimore, where he was a backup and only played 50 snaps and graded out at a 72. But last year he played the most snaps that he's played in his career, 386, and finished with a 71 grade, pass blocking a 65.9, run blocking a 68.5. This is a guy that has a lot of experience at right guard. And at 6'4", 313, 27 years of age, Trystan with a Y Colon is the newest member of the Detroit Lions. Depth piece, absolutely. Is Will Hernandez, his former teammate with the Arizona Cardinals, a better football player? Yes. But Hernandez coming off a torn ACL, they probably want to bring in Colon and take a long look at him right here, right now. And Hernandez isn't ready to play yet. So not a bad option for the Lions. Like I said, he's played a little bit of center. Going back to, he played 6 snaps at center this past year. He's had some other experience, but he's mostly been right guard and left guard and some center. Is he a starting caliber player on a really good team? I'm not so sure. Remember, this was a guy in 2023, after the Ravens let him walk, joined the Jets and was released on cutdown day before going to Arizona to play. So he's I don't know if he's necessarily competition, but he'll be depth competition for guys like Ekwagon and Michael Neese and Coyote Iwoshika, guys like that. All right, this is about having a player that did not hurt the team last year when he was out there, but not necessarily a starter in the league, but somebody that can play if need be. And if you missed yesterday's show, I touched on it. What's the Lions thinking right now? Are they thinking about Glasgow at center, even though he's getting up there in age and he's off of not a great season? Is this the Ratledge show and they're handing him the reins now that Ragnow's gone? They're going to put Glasgow back maybe at left guard where he was, back at right guard where he had success 2 years ago. Last year at left guard with Zeitler at right guard, Glasgow did not play very well, especially in the second half of the season. So Cologne's another body. Lions are adding to the mix here with Ragnow out, and he is the newest member, at least according to the NFL Network's Mike Garafolo, of the Detroit Lions. And look, we're all bummed out about Frank Ragnow. Everybody is. You're reading stuff every single day about players just lauding how good a guy like Frank was. But after 7 years in the league and after countless injuries, I saw my buddy Brad Galley from Channel 7 posted a video, an interview that he had done with Taylor Decker and Ragnow at the end of last season. And Decker was like, I don't know how Frank plays with these injured toes that he has. And he does. He's just out there no matter what the situation. Fractured lung, torn pectoral muscle up here. He was out there. He missed 1 game last year with a torn pectoral muscle. 1. Most players miss 6, 7 games trying to get back from something like that. Pretty remarkable guy in Frank Ragnow. So Trystan Colon is the newest Lion. Let's talk a little bit about the defense coming up next and the Lions safeties. Pro Football Focus did their list of the top 30 safeties in the league. And we know this, the Lions have 2 top 10 safeties in Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Those 2 are beasts. It's a huge, huge strength for this Lions defense. The question is, are they both in the top 5? We will tell you that coming up next, right here on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. NBA Finals are here tomorrow night, right? Every game is going to deliver highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. What would it look like to combine live prop bets mid-game tomorrow night for game 1 between the Thunder and Pacers based on how the action unfolds? And how about this? How could a $200 bonus in bets add to the excitement if that first $5 bet wins? It's simple. You got to check out FanDuel. Are you new to FanDuel? It's perfect time to sign up. Go to FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Matt Derry back with you, live and direct. Well, not live, but we are here, parts unknown, again, doing Wednesday's show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, your team every day. Tell your Lion fan friends about us. If you have not subscribed on Locked On Lions YouTube channel, you can do that as well. We would love to have you on the old YouTube. All right, our friends at PFF. Yes, Pro Football Focus. We love PFF. Came out today with their safety rankings. Who are the top safeties in the NFL in the eyes of Pro Football Focus, all the rankings that they do and everything else? They actually have 32 safeties. Number 32 is none other than Kobe Bryant of the Seattle Seahawks. Number 1 on the list. And again, this list was put together by PFF author Zoltan Budeh. Number 1 on the list is Kyle Hamilton of the Baltimore Ravens. Not a surprise. Guy's an absolute stud. There's a reason why he was a top 15 player a few years ago. Moved to free safety this last year, and it's a total package. He is fantastic. Run defense, pass defense, everything. Can even run down quarterbacks and rush the passer. Kyle Hamilton is number 1. Number 2 on the list is a little bit disappointing, but it is none other than Peter Bukowski's Green Bay Packers' own Xavier McKinney. Had a very good year last year for the Packers, coming over from the Giants in free agency at a PFF coverage grade of 90.2. Also, of course, ran his mouth that he was tired of the Lions. And the Lions, of course, came into Green Bay that week and beat McKinney and Detroit. That was sweet. He made PFF's list as the number 2 safety in the league. Number 3, Jesse Bates, Atlanta Falcons, ball hawk. Really, really good football player. Came over, of course, from Cincinnati. Excellent player. I'll get to a comparison between Bates and our guys in a second. Number 4 on the list is Antoine Winfield Jr. of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Didn't play a lot last year. He played only 601 snaps last year and I don't think, had one of his best years last season. Yet, complete body of work propelled him to number 4 on this list. If I had to say that Antoine, would I say who's had a better career so far, Antoine Winfield or Brian Branch, Antoine Winfield or Kirby Joseph? I would say Antoine Winfield. Who would I rather have right now? I'd rather have our guys. I'd rather have Branch and I'd rather have Joseph. But again, going on 2 years ago, Antoine Winfield in 2023, which earned him a massive extension, was absolutely sick with a 90.7 grade. Number 5 on the list. So again, Hamilton. All right, Hamilton, McKinney, Bates, Winfield. Number 5, the Detroit Lions' own Brian Branch. Look, I love Brian Branch. What can you say about this guy? a bigger hitter in any secondary than Brian Branch? Is there a more sure tackler anywhere than Brian Branch? And our friend Mr. Boudet, the author, writes, quote, following a very impressive rookie season, Branch further improved in his second year and established himself as one of the best safeties in the league. His 90.8 PFF run defense grade ranked first at the position, while his 88.0 PFF pass rushing grade placed second. His 11 pass breakups were the most by any safety last season. How are you putting Antoine Winfield or Jesse Bates ahead of Brian Branch? I'm sorry, I'm not. Brian Branch to me is a top 3 safety in the league. He's awesome. At number 6 is Kirby Joseph, Branch's teammate with our Lions. Quote, following 2 somewhat disappointing seasons to open his NFL account, Joseph enjoyed a breakout year in 2024, earning a position-leading 91.1 PFF coverage grade. He recorded 8 interceptions, tying for most in the league, and only 60.7% of passes into his coverage were completed 8th best. I would disagree and say that Kirby Joseph was a disappointment the first 2 years. Wasn't drafted in the first round or the second round for that matter. I think Kirby Joseph was solid the first couple of years. This past year with the 8 picks, just being that ball hog, being that center fielder, that quarterback of the defense, that last line of defense, including the pick 6 in Green Bay last year, I would say Kirby Joseph deserves right to be where he is at number 6. There was a time last year, and you know this, if you were a Locked On Lions viewer or listener, I was pushing very hard for Kirby Joseph to win Defensive Player of the Year based on the interceptions and how well he played. So the Lions have 2 top 6 safeties. It's just not 2 top 5 safeties. Rounding out the top 10, if you're interested, Derwin James of the Chargers at 7, who Jim Harbaugh just fawns over. Buda Baker at 8 of the Cardinals, the Broncos, Brandon Jones, and the Giants, Javon Holland. Former Lion, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, now of the Houston Texans, is ranked at number 13. So I would say that both Lions, Branch and Joseph, probably deserve 5. I think Brian Branch is the top 3 safety in the league. I do. There's no question that Kyle Hamilton is an absolute stud. All right. No one's arguing that. He's the best safety in football. No one's arguing against Xavier McKinney either. I mean, ran his mouth a little bit. You could make an argument Branch is better, but McKinney's pretty damn good too. But I would say Branch is the top 3 safety. And I like Jesse Bates. Don't get me wrong. That guy's a stud too. But I love Brian Branch. All right. Cryptic Instagram post update. Alex Anzalone, Lions defensive captain and currently not at Lions organized team activities, posted a video yesterday on Instagram that could be cryptic and that Lions fans believe shows Anzalone being upset. It is a highlight video of Alex working out on his own, backpedaling, cone drills, lifting weights, catching balls, the whole thing. Anzalone on his Instagram feed, Alex Anzalone 34, put out this 45-second video. And his caption is, quote, "In life, you have options. Which will you choose?" Unquote. Alex Anzalone has chosen not to be with his teammates at organized team activities. Is this a holdout? No, it's not, because organized team activities are voluntary. But he's the only player not there, the only one. There are plenty not participating. There are plenty that are hurt, but they're all in the building. Last week, it was Ragnow and Anzalone. We know now why Frank's not there. He's retired. Anzalone, of course, is going to be making $6 million this year in the final year of his 3-year, $18 million deal. None of that money is guaranteed. And so Anzalone's total compensation is outside the top 25 for linebackers heading into this season. He obviously wants more money. Am I watching this video going, oh, he's showing the Lions, he's sticking his nose to the Lions? No, there's no reference to the Lions. There's no Lions t-shirts on. There's no Lions anything in this video. But he is saying, you got a choice. Which do you choose? You can say it's cryptic. You can say he's taking a shot at the Lions. In life, you have options. Which will you choose? I said it yesterday on the show. Alex Anzalone is doing what his agent's telling him to do and what he feels is right for himself, which is right now being away from the team. You know he wants to get paid more. You know he sees that all of his teammates, many of the good ones that are captains too, that wear C's on their chest, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, and others, got contract extensions. I think he would like his too. Do I think this is going to spill over into training camp? I don't think so. I think he'll be there. But you never know. But in life, you have options. Which will you choose? Yeah, Alex is choosing right now to be away from the team. But this is nothing new around the league. There have been plenty of players that have sat out OTAs or even some of the mini camps. Heck, Aaron Rodgers last year, I'm not comparing Anzalone to Aaron Rodgers because Alex is 10 times the teammate Aaron is. But Aaron Rodgers last year missed mandatory mini camp and wasn't upset. So we'll see with the organization. So we'll see where all of this goes. And everybody knows I'm a big fan of Alex Anzalone. For those of you that are new to the show and wondering why we call him Gaines Media Poster Boy, it's because our very good friend and everyday listener, Robert Banker, the proprietor of Gaines Media, absolutely adores Alex Anzalone. He thinks he's the cat's meow, as they say. So we refer to him as the GMPB, Gaines Media Poster Boy. He's putting out cryptic IG videos now. This is part of the deal. This is what players do right now. This is what players do. You don't think some Phoenix Suns are going to start putting out some cryptic messages after like some former Michigan State ball boy just became the head coach today of the Suns of an NBA team? People do this all the time on social media, unfortunately or fortunately. All right, I never thought I would say this, but we're going to discuss Jake McQuaide coming up next. I've got to end the show with this wild story. Welcome back on Locked On Lions. And I was, every day I go to prep for the show and I Google Detroit Lions. I want to see if any news stories out there that I missed. All right. And this happens all the time. And so I Googled Detroit Lions today. And what do I see? But Jake McQuaide in the news, the former Detroit Lions long snapper from 2 years ago. The headline reads from the Detroit Free Press, former Lions long snapper Jake McQuaide reportedly escorted by police out of Ohio church. Okay. Former Lions long snapper Jake McQuaide gets kicked out of church. The story goes on to read that McQuaide, who was the long snapper for the Lions in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago in San Francisco. Remember, McQuaide took over midseason due to injuries, and has been with the Lions and played for the Dolphins and Vikings before. Jake McQuaide was at a church in Ohio, and on Saturday interrupted an afternoon mass to question whether or not one of the priests of the church had watched pornography on church equipment. As first reported by WCPO of Cincinnati, the NFL veteran stood up during the mass to question the Archdiocese of Cincinnati Chancellor Jason Williams, not white chocolate, Jason Williams, about Father Martin Bachman's behavior. McQuaide stood up and, quote, said, "Please take a second. We want to put these rumors to rest. Can you answer this for me? Fact or fiction?" Videos were, end quote. McQuaide was in these videos that were provided to the TV station down in Cincinnati. Police were there and some security escorted McQuaide out of the building. He was with the Lions in both 2023. Actually, he was with the Lions in 2023. He wasn't with them last year, of course. But has been in the NFL mostly with the Rams. But like I said, he's been with other teams like the Dolphins and the Vikings as well. So Jake McQuaide stood up in church and challenged whether or not the priest was watching porn. This was not on my bingo card to mention on Locked On Lions. But hey, when it's the summertime, when we've got to fill time, when we've got to find some stories, who would have thought? Now, what does that mean for Jake McQuaide? Like, is he like really into, is he very, very Catholic and very, very clean and, I don't know, unhappy about, there would be many ways to peel this onion. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to tell you that I did not think that I had former Lion long snapper kicked out of church as something that I would be mentioning on the show, but I had to bring it up. That'll probably be the last time I ever mention Jake McQuaide, unless next year Hatton gets hurt, the Lions long snapper, and they need to call Jake or somebody else to come in and snap some footballs. But maybe after this episode in this church in Ohio, maybe the Lions are like, yeah, we're good. Maybe we won't do that. So we'll see. But no, I did not have that story. It's something I was thinking about mentioning today, but there you go. You were wondering whatever happened to Lions long snapper from 2 years ago, Jake McQuaide. Now you know, right? I never really thought that would be something that would be coming up for me. That we would see number 43. We were number 43 2 years ago. Back in our lives. Police will not file charges, by the way. So he hasn't been arrested. He was just booted out of the church. So Trystan Cologne is the newest Lion. OTAs continue down in Allen Park. And then the Lions are going to take a break for a little while. And then they'll be back. They have not announced yet when training camp is starting. They've got to figure that out and get that out to the fans, of course, because of camps going to be opening. The Lions and Chargers going to be opening up their camps before anybody else, because those two teams will be playing 4 preseason games, including the Hall of Fame game. They'll be up first, July 31st in Canton, Ohio. That'll do it for this Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions, everybody. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Short week for us with just 3 shows this week. We are back again with Andrew Siciliano from the Siciliano Show on YouTube and the voice of the Cleveland Browns, formerly of NFL Network, and of course, DirecTV Red Zone. He'll join us on Monday.